Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney,
And I'm MK.
and how are you?
You know, I am absolutely unhinged today.
Yep.
Um,
And
today is the last full school day, last exam day of the school year. Next week, we have two half days, and one of them is just summer birthday party. Like, I am living my best life. We had a water balloon fight to end the day. Like, I graded the part of the exams that I thought was the hardest, and most of the kids did better than I expected them to. I am living my most chaotic life.
I'm here for it.
I was like, my mom was like, "How many more exams do you have to grade?" And I said, "All of them, plus, all of the work I didn't grade for the last month and a half." And she goes, "So you're not doing anything this weekend?" I said, "I have plans every day." So I'm unhinged. I have the weirdest energy I've had in like 3 weeks. I'm pretty confident it's because I'm going to start my period tomorrow, but like I don't care because if PMS is like the top of the mountain, I'm kind of cool with it. Like if I could just be like mentally unstable every time I'm about to start my period instead of depressively eating chocolate, I would take that.
I would also take that. Could you
Right?
also send me that chaotic energy?
I,
Thank
I'll do
you.
one of those weird TikTok Reiki things where I like send energy through the screen. Sorry, that was a little much. I've lost my mind. How are you?
I am. It's actually been a very good week. It's Songwriters Week, which means all the music publishers are music publishing together and working and networking and meeting and conferencing. And Monday was my 1 year attorney-versary, and it was so exciting. So I took myself out for a nice dinner and just kind of like lived it up. I went and had steak at this place a block over. Oh, it's so nice. And then I've been in conferences and networking, and I've just like one of the like we for part of music publishing is you pitch songs to like TV shows and different stuff like that. And we got a brief in, and my song that I pitched got picked. And this is the first time that's ever happened. And it's a show that I've been wanting to pitch to for 3 years. I was so stoked. I don't think I'm allowed to tell you because I'm pretty sure that's confidential information, like specifics. But I can tell you that I'm so stoked. So
I will be asking for more information when we are not publicly recording.
yes, and I will not tell you because I legally cannot.
Perfect. 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 Perfect.
Yes.
That
But
is
I will
so
let you know.
exciting.
I'll let everyone know when I can.
Right.
I'm stoked about it.
I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you. You know what else is giving off good energy this week?
What is our spiritual AF card?
It is grab your own butt, love yourself.
Hell yeah.
What better energy do we need going into July? Because we are doing
No,
that.
I, what did I say? Yeah, we're doing that. That's weird. Oh, I said, I was telling my friend about a breakup the other day, and she was like, "You shouldn't like," because I said I went to the gym this week for the first time in like months. And I posted on my Snapchat story that I was trying to make myself hot enough for a medium white man. And a bunch of people like got really upset that they thought that I felt that way about myself. And I go, no, no, no. I just say shit for attention. What you have to understand is that that was absolutely a guilt trip for anybody who thinks that they made me feel bad about myself because I get broken up with a lot. And I can promise you it has never once been that I'm not hot.
Right.
Because I am. Like I'm crazy. I'm a psychotic, overbearing, anxiously attached freak, and that is kind of a problem in relationships. But
Right.
no one walks away from my ass purely because of what it looks like. That's not a thing that's going to happen.
Yes. Correct. But it's okay. Grab your own butt. Love yourself. That's
Grab
our
your own butt.
today and this week.
Yes.
And on the opposite side of things, you should not do.
Don't do any of the things in this episode.
Not a one. Not a one. But this episode, this week, this day, we have watched Bates Motel, season 2, episode 3. It is called Caleb. And that is all I want to say about that for right now. We will get there. Hold on, we will get there.
Okay.
So this episode premiered March 17th, 2014, St. Patty's Day.
St. Patrick's Day.
So we are chilling with our holidays this week.
That's right, because Sunday was Halloween, and now it's St. Patrick's Day. It's like the 2 drunkest holidays of the year.
That's why we're so chaotic. We're just like drunk from the air. I don't even know.
St. Patrick's Day of 2014.
I was in college, and it was when did this show come out? Sundays? What day of the week?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I was probably at work.
St. Patrick's Day of 2014. I think I spray dyed because I didn't have a shaved head until 2015. I think I was at rehearsal.
I was probably working because I worked mornings and afternoons on Sundays then.
Right.
I was at stage and I was doing the beauty bar stuff.
That makes sense.
This episode was rated 8.4 out of 10.
Not bad.
Very high. Fine by me. The number 1 song was Surprise, Still Happy by Pharrell Williams.
Over it.
It just lasts forever. The number 1 movie, however, I did really enjoy and make sense, was Divergent. Have you read the books?
No, but my mom did, and she really liked it.
Recommend reading the books first because they're definitely better. I also liked the movies. The books are definitely better.
That's absolutely fair.
And this is not one of those series where it's like split on who likes what better.
Right. No, I've literally never heard someone say that the movie is better.
Yeah. And on this day, I have a happy fact and a sad fact.
Okay.
Happy depending on how many times you've listened to this song. Sia released the song Chandelier this year. Which is fine. When I worked at Starbucks in New Orleans, this song was almost on repeat at the mall because I was in the kiosk inside the mall in New Orleans, and this song was basically on repeat. You heard it at least 10 or 15 times a day during a shift. So that's what Sia brings me back to, but that's fine. But the sad fact is Gene Feist, who was the co-founder of Roundabout Theaters, passed away this day.
Oh, R.I.P.
Yes. And now I have a huge plot twist for you. We have a different director.
What?
I know. New director.
Okay.
And Bates Motel, I'm sure he's obviously been seeing other things. Lodge Kerrigan. Never heard of him.
Nope.
He is known for Clean Shaven, Keen, The Girlfriend Experience, and Claire Dolan.
I've heard of none of those.
I think I have heard of The Girlfriend Experience. I do not know what it is about. That just sounds vaguely familiar to me.
Cool.
He worked on Homeland.
Okay, that I know.
But not a lot.
Okay.
And then there was one other show, I don't know what it was, that I was like, other people have probably heard of this show. Not a lot of stuff that I watched, but he's got some good credits. I have a fun fact about him that I find fascinating.
I love that.
He directed a film in the 90s in between 2 of those. So he, in a 15-year time span, those were the only 4 movies he directed. He's done a lot since, and he did a few before, but in a 15-year time span, those are the only 4 movies he directed.
Okay.
And in the very middle of those 4 movies, he did direct another movie that had, who was it? I think it was Michelle Pfeiffer, I read the cast list and completely forgot. And somebody else. And they finished everything up. They wrapped everything, got ready for release. And then there was an issue with the negatives. And that film has never and will never be shown now because it got destroyed, even though it made it all the way to wrap.
That is tragic.
Right?
That is so tragic. It also reminds me of the time, this is my favorite fun fact about any movie, the time that someone accidentally deleted the entirety of Toy Story 2 from the Pixar database. And then this one woman who was on maternity leave had saved it to her hard drive to work on it at home on maternity leave. And that's literally the only reason we have a Toy Story 2.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is.
But when you film on actual film, that doesn't work.
So I think they were just like, I'm never directing another movie again now. No,
I think I would probably react the same way if I had directed an entire film with Michelle Pfeiffer and then the negatives were destroyed and there was no film. I would probably quit.
Literally complete. Like it was 100% complete, ready for release.
How do you... That means that like the negatives were destroyed after splicing and editing, and I would throw myself off a bridge.
Yeah. I'm glad this guy didn't because like then he directed this episode.
Right.
Like didn't die.
That is a level of tragic that I don't think I can comprehend.
I don't think I could handle it. I would have changed career paths.
Yeah. No, I would be like a goat farmer in Montana.
Yeah. I would give up on life, for sure. So
anyways, I would do baby goat yoga.
I love that. I would come visit you. And I told you about the time I had a goat, didn't I?
Yes.
Yes. I love my goat. Same writers.
Okay.
So I'm done with that plot twists. And our new character that I will be discussing, his name is Kenny Johnson, and he plays Caleb Calhoun, to be specific. He is, oh my gosh, I can't read my own handwriting. Oh, you may know him because he's in like one episode of all the different like drama crime shows.
Probably, yeah.
Like just one of like
everything. Yeah.
Like he was in Castle and all this other stuff. He is known for The Shield. That's like his most well known. I have not seen it, but there was so much reference to The Shield and notes about him.
Okay.
Checkpoint, which I also have not seen.
I've not seen, no.
And Blade, which I have seen, but that movie is from 1,000 years ago, and so I'm guessing he looks different.
Blade, like the Wesley Snipes Blade?
Yes. Like the original #1 Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to place him from that because if I have seen it, it was so long ago.
Well, I watched it.
Oh, because you rewatched it when you just did that Marvel thing a couple years ago, or was it? Yeah, it was in 2020 that you did all the Marvel stuff.
And so I've watched it recently, and he may have been one of the main guys thinking back, like of the bad side, but he would have looked so different because I mean, the costuming in that movie already was wildly different from
wild
person. So he would definitely look different for sure. Some fun facts about him because before we decided we hated him, he was in a Pringles commercial with Brad Pitt before people knew who Brad Pitt was. So that was 1,000 years ago. Yeah. And he is a world-class arm wrestler.
I mean, who isn't?
Yeah, right. Yes, of course. Of course. So there is the happiness you'll receive for this episode.
That is it.
That is it. We start this episode with a flashback. It's the review or the like replay of what's already happened.
Which, okay, to be fair, so usually we film this early in the week, like we film it about the same day every week. Usually it's Monday or Tuesday for Courtney and I. This past week, because of just life and craziness and my charity stuff and school, we filmed on a Monday and then not again until the following Friday. So like a full
almost 2 weeks.
10, 12 days apart. So I opened my notebook and I go, I'm going to be honest with you. I looked at my mom. I go, I don't know what happened in Bates Motel last week, but my last note just says, no fucking way. So it must have been pretty intense. Then the preview started and I go, oh, thank God for the preview because I literally did not remember.
I 100% agree because I was like watching and I was like, oh, what are we going to get? And then she did the playback of the scene where she was telling Norman about her brother. And I was like, completely forgot that was a whole thing. Welcome back to the storyline of season 2. Like,
yep.
I'm guessing it's a main one. So that was important. Mm-hmm. We saw that again.
Yeah.
To bring us back to reality and immediately take us down a notch or two. And then we start with Emma and Norman. And you're like, oh, good. We're starting on a light note. Nope. We start with suicide.
Because no, we don't actually start with Emma and Norman. We start with a scene of the rocks.
Oh, yes.
The suicide note and the clothes. So Dylan placed everything for Bradley's fake suicide.
I couldn't remember if that was part of the preview and in the last episode.
That was the very, very beginning.
Gotcha, because I was like, oh, that must have happened in the last episode, and I just forgot. Yes, thank you. So, again, we don't know what happened in the last episode.
No idea.
So we have Emma and Norman, and we learn that the suicide note worked that they left for Bradley with her clothes, and Emma is just devastated.
And Norman is not. And it was so uncomfortable.
It really was. And it sent me on a spiral of being like, wow, I'm really impressed with how well she actually achieved this. And I know that it was all Dylan's advice. And he was like, you do these things, you go off the grid, you're fine. So then I was thinking about it and I'm like, if you were going to go off the grid, how would you do it?
I wouldn't.
Fair.
And it's not even because I don't think I could live without technology or anything like that. I would never be able to go without telling my siblings and my parents where I am. That's just, it's I could probably delete all my social media and quit my job and go live in a tree somewhere if I really had to.
It doesn't.
But I would still need to be able to call my niece that. Sorry.
That is fair. I think it would definitely have to be after my parents passed away because I feel the same about that.
Yeah.
And I think, but I also know I wouldn't do it with a suicide note because anyone who I left behind, I wouldn't want them to think the worst.
You have that heaviness. As someone who has lost friends to suicide, that heaviness, even though that there's nothing you could do, it doesn't go away. Yeah. So I wouldn't want anyone that I loved to carry that.
Right. I mean, I feel as a person, I'm believable that I'm going to one day just decide I'm going to go off into the world and change my whole life on a whim and just disappear. And I feel that's believable enough that I don't need to do something devastating.
Right.
I'll just feel yeah, that track.
I'm chaotic. I just leave. I went to Europe for 24 hours for a concert one time. I moved to Asia for 3 years. I'm chaotic and unpredictable enough that I wouldn't have to fake my own death to just disappear.
I planned down to the doing research of how much money I needed to run away in a van with my friend and just become a writer and figure out how much I needed to make freelance to keep going. And then he got married. So
see, but you planned the money. I didn't even do that. I just
I need to plan before I leave.
Oh no, I'm chaotic.
Yeah, I don't need a plan before I walk out of my door, but if it's going to be longer than that day, I need a plan so I can make sure that I make it to the other end of whatever that is.
I feel I've just been realizing how much I'm not afraid of anything.
That's a good way to be.
I get anxiety. I was telling, I was I get anxiety for sure. I get nervous. I have fear, But like,
but it's different.
It's different. Like traveling across the world, knowing no one, speaking no language, and having no money in my bank. Sure, why fucking not?
I would I
Like,
would be a little distraught without money in my bank. The rest I
yeah,
can get past and
no,
I know I can survive. Like,
no.
but
People are like, oh, like yesterday there was like a tornado warning in my area, which is weird because we like really are not a place that could have tornadoes. But there was a tornado warning and everyone was like kind of freaking out. I was like, that'd be dope. Like, I don't.
and you have enough open land, like,
Yeah.
that it wouldn't like cause too much destruction, probably, at least like in your area, because you're a little more like woody in your area, right? Like,
Well, no, not really. No.
oh, okay.
No, I mean Buffalo is. I mean, my Niagara Falls is a little smaller, but Buffalo is the second or third.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's.
mean Niagara Falls.
Oh no, I mean Niagara Falls is still a city. There's still buildings. Just because most of them are dilapidated and would probably be better off if a tornado hit them doesn't mean there's not buildings everywhere.
Gotcha. Yes, adds up. But yeah, so was impressed with Bradley's follow through.
1 second. What is the bottom word there?
Panic.
Panic. Oh.
The DR.
Oh, my mom said that I couldn't just completely disappear off the grid because I would need my phone to call her when I panic, which is absolutely true because all of these times that I've just done things with no fear definitely resulted in me calling my mom crying. Like I went to the Dominican Republic to meet my ex-boyfriend and his family. No plan, didn't really know what I was doing. I was just going to meet them. Got to the airport, didn't know where I was or who I was meeting at the airport. Called my mom freaking out. When I landed in Thailand and had no money, called my mom freaking out. Like,
yes, I would have a panic attack, but I also would figure it out. I logic everything. I will panic for 2 hours and then I sit down and I'm like, gotta figure this out. Then I can panic again once it's all fixed.
I just have to panic to someone else. Like I need to get all my panic out of me. And my mom is the person that I can call and be like, hi, I'm having feelings. Listen to me cry. Say things that are assuring that don't actually solve my problems because you just want me to grow up and be an adult. Thank you.
Yes, I was venting about something the other day and I felt so bad because I'm missing my friend Sarah's 30th birthday is this coming week and her party's tomorrow and I accidentally overbooked because I wasn't paying attention because I'm a mess.
Yeah.
I felt so bad and I called my aunt and I was just like, oh, I felt awful. It's her 30th. I'm not going to be there, blah, blah, blah. And she's like saying all these quote unquote reassuring things. And I was like, okay. She's like, none of this is helping us. And I was like, no, like I'm still going to feel bad. It's like, but thank you for trying to make me feel better. I'll be better later. But yeah, totally get that. Yeah. And so speaking of things that we don't feel better about, that people don't get over quickly, Norma is hanging out with this woman at the theater, and she turns out she didn't get the part in the play that she should have gotten.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks she should have gotten it. And so she's like super bummed and kind of like upset. And this woman's like, let's go have a drink.
Yeah, no, okay. This woman was supposed to be the director of the play, and she fought for Norma to get the part, and everybody else was like, no. And so she was like, not only do I think you're stupid, I quit.
Right.
And I was like, I'm obsessed with this woman.
Yes. I also love that. But I am I have some predictions at the end of this episode.
I have feelings too, but
so I also said that so Norma says she'll go have a drink with this woman, and I was like, Norma needs to only have drinks in the comfort and safety of her own home. She has so many things, like secrets hidden away, that like if she got drunk and like let any of them out, and she's so pent up that like that's gonna be the first thing that happens.
Oh, for sure. But like this lady, obviously we have feelings toward now, like after seeing the whole episode, but in this moment, like this lady's the first like real friend that Norma has had. Like who's actually like a woman who like cares and like wants to be there and like believes Norma. And I was like, Norma having a real friend is everything I never knew I wanted. Like I needed this.
No, I assume the projection of the show is going to go with Norma starting out crazy like she did, going into being a normal person, finally getting her life right, and then dying. That's what I assume the projection is we're going to get of Norma. So we'll see. But I do, but just because like in character development, once they reach their quote unquote happy ending, she's not going to get a happy ending regardless.
Yeah.
But things are going smoother. She's getting friends. She's getting hobbies. All of this, like, that can't last forever.
No. Of course it can't.
So I assume that's kind of the trajectory we're getting.
Right.
I definitely thought she was going to spill the beans about Keith Summers immediately to this woman, because she was like, I had a thing that happened in the beginning. And then the woman's like, oh, you mean Sheriff?
She was like, oh, yeah, when that deputy got shot up.
And she was like, yeah. And I was like, I don't think that's what you were going to say. And I'm glad that that's the conversation they had, and not one where she was like, I killed someone and got away with it. But also, like, if this woman is who I think she is, it's probably not the first time that's happened.
But also, I don't think Norma genuinely feels as much trauma about killing Keith and getting away with it as she does about Zach getting shot. Like, I don't think she...
I absolutely agree, but, like, that's why I thought she was going to casually mention it, because...
Right. No, but Zach getting shot and ruining business at the hotel is a much bigger problem for her than the fact that she murdered someone.
No, absolutely. I thought she was just about to give her, like, life story of getting to this town. And she was like, this is what happened when I first got here. And then I killed someone. And then this deputy got shot. And my friend, it's like, calm down. You don't need to, like, tell all of these things to people.
That sounds like me trying to tell my life story.
So, like, not killed anyone.
No. I have never murdered
shot in your front yard that died.
No. I don't know if he survived.
Well, we're gonna pretend like he did.
I don't know the person who shot him though. Like, if that counts.
Yes, I think that counts.
My life is chaotic.
So moving on, before we implicate Kate in anything that she doesn't need to be implicated in, we go to, this is the first time we see Caleb in this episode. I love his title.
Yes.
And he comes up to the motel and is super sketch about trying to find Norma, which, like, not surprisingly, but also, like, if you're trying to do this, stop being so sketchy, maybe.
I had so many mixed feelings about him through this episode. Like, my opinion on him went back and forth many, many times.
I don't. I have one opinion, and it is solid the entire time.
Okay, well.
This is about 2 minutes into this scene is when I figured out the big twist for the episode.
I didn't. I did not. I'll be honest, I started watching it at 9:45 last night.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, wasn't the most awake I could have been. But I definitely did not put the pieces together.
I have
at all.
Letters right after I put that he's super sketchy about finding Norma.
Fantastic. I if I had noticed it, I wouldn't have had the mixed feelings that I had.
Fair.
But, like, yeah.
I still don't think I would have had mixed feelings even if I didn't figure it out. But I think this might be a flaw with this show that we're only in season 2.
Yeah.
There's 5 seasons, and I'm starting to read the room faster than I should, I think.
Well, maybe you just watched too much TV, because I did not.
Possible. But in that sense, you have to outdo the other TV. You have to go more with other writing. And so that's still a flaw if you're making it too easy in a show that should be a thriller. We'll see. Maybe this is one time I've just figured it out.
Maybe, yeah. We'll see.
We'll see. That's just one of my concerns going forward. Norma arrives and...
Oh, hold on. But I want to say that in this scene, when Caleb shows up and he's being sketchy, Dylan is like, Norma's not here. And he's like, well, I'll just come back later when she's back. And Dylan goes, well, she will be back, but I'll still be here. And I was like, hell yeah, Dylan, you stand up for your mom. Like, I was so the way he said that was so menacing without threatening. And I was like, yes.
And then it went all downhill from there. But yes, I also felt, I was like, oh, we're going to have a good episode. He's going to stand tall. And then I was like, 30 seconds later, that was over. I was like, whatever.
But to be fair, not his fault.
Not his fault. Not his fault. No. That's not where I got angry. But yes. Norma arrives, kicks him out immediately. I should put good riddance. Because she didn't want to hear what he had to say, and I don't think she should have heard what he had to say, because the last thing we heard about him was that he had raped and abused her as a child, and I think he should be gone.
Yes.
Farther than Costa Rica. Maybe even down farther.
And now, then this is when I first had a problem with Norma. Because she kicks him out and she screams, and rightfully so, would have reacted the same way. But then Dylan is like, Mom, what is going on? And she will not speak to him. She will not talk to him. She will not answer any of his questions. And I'm not saying that trauma victims have the onus to put all of that on the table.
Right.
But she has already told Norman. So it's not like she is incapable of talking about it. And Dylan is obviously now involved in the situation, and Dylan is more likely to think that she's crazy. So if she just tells him from the beginning why she is uncomfortable, we solve 90% of the problems with this episode.
See, I see where you're coming from, and I agree that it would have solved 90% of the episode. But I think even though she's told Norman, he's the only one she's told, and he's the only person she's ever felt close to. And while her and Dylan are mending their relationship and are close, I don't feel like she feels comfortable enough still to share her, what's the word I'm looking for? Vulnerability because she's trying so hard to show that she's still strong. She's taking care of everyone.
Yeah.
Hasn't seen that side of her say.
She just needs to go to therapy, really.
Oh, absolutely. 1000%. Yes, definitely.
No, and that's obviously I don't, like I said, I don't think that she's in a healed enough place to openly talk about trauma. But it's so difficult to watch her scream at Dylan when Dylan is literally only trying to understand what's going on with her. He's not accusing her of anything. In that first scene, when she first kicks him out, he's not angry at her. Later in the episode, he gets angry, but he's not angry. He's genuinely upset that she is so hurt and trying to understand. And she can't place that that's the emotion he's giving her.
And I think also, because it's in the moment and she hasn't seen this guy for, 20 years, 21 years?
How old is Dylan?
21, 22? That's what I was trying to remember.
Yeah.
And so she hasn't seen this guy in 22, maybe 23 years, depending. And comes out of nowhere in her house where she thinks she's finally found a safe.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I think she's overreacted a lot this season, in this show. And she's made a lot of choices that don't make sense emotionally, even if you're looking at them from an emotional standpoint. But this is one that I just didn't question.
I didn't question her reaction or her decision not to. It was hard because then it just kept escalating and she just kept getting more mad at Dylan for his reaction to it, but he didn't have the information. And I was like, if you would have just told him why, he wouldn't have continued to hurt you.
Right.
And I don't know. I'm a big believer in that you can't heal trauma without communicating what the trauma is.
1000%.
And so in that moment, I probably would have reacted the same way that she did.
Yeah.
I don't fault her for that. But then as the episode continues, she just keeps pushing Dylan away instead of letting him know what's wrong.
I think at a certain point, she decided she was too far in and she didn't know how to get herself out of it.
Yeah.
Because he did come with open arms in the beginning. He did come emotionally prepared to listen to her and believe her. And she kept pushing him away. And it got to a point where it was kind of too late. Because as we saw his reaction, it was too late for that. And so I think communication and therapy is the answer to everything in the world.
Correct.
solves everything. And then we have Norman coming in. It's a new day. And Norman is going to ask Norma about the play and how things are going. And it seems like he really wants to do the play, even though he had that really big outburst last episode about not doing the play.
Yep.
And then she like tells him that she starts snapping at him, and he's like, what is going on? Like, you wanted to do this, and now you're telling me theater's dumb and like all this. And that's when she tells him that Caleb was there. And at this point, I was like, that's the next person Norman's going to kill.
Yeah, she kept being like, no, I'm fine. And I was like, you're obviously not fine. Like, it's one thing to lie to Dylan. Why are you lying to Norman? You're not fine.
Like, he already knows. And also, like, there is not one single person, no matter how healed you are. I at least believe if you were in that exact same situation, you're not going to be fine.
No.
It's like,
absolutely not.
So, I mean, we're talking about a lot of very deep topics today.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Shit is real. Real.
Welcome. This episode.
Yeah.
So, but then we go to the wheat farm. And
okay. My note, we get to the wheat farm. The boys Remo and Dylan are talking about their stuff. And I just hear a bird caw. Before they even showed it on the screen, I heard the bird caw and I go, well, this is not a good sign.
No. And I mean, it was kind of a cliche display of having the birds circling where they're going in the distance, but I'm a sucker for a big crow circling to indicate murder. Like, it's cliche and I don't care. I enjoyed it.
Same.
Yeah. It had the right lighting, that overcast, not like overcast, but like with the sun lower.
Yeah, it was a gorgeous shot.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. And I mean, things are cliche for a reason. Like, they don't fit in everything, but it worked here for me.
Yeah.
So, and we learned that everyone's dead. And only two people. Was it Paco and Tony? Was that their name?
Yeah, it was Paco and Tony.
And they've been murdered. And they're like, great. Look at what Zane has done now. He killed their one guy, now they've killed
Zane, that's his name. I couldn't fucking remember his name.
Zane. You can remember he is Zane because he is insane. Hand in hand, we rhyme things. So Norman goes to the theater next to drop out of the show because he's like, I don't even care about this show. He's like, Norma's not doing it. I didn't really want to do it in the first place. I may as well just go quit too. And this girl shows up, and I keep forgetting her name.
Name's Cody.
Cody?
Yeah.
I was like, it starts with a C, and I couldn't remember. And she is excellent. I think.
Here's the thing. Cody was the cashier when he bought the hair dye for Dylan.
I missed that. I did not.
She started the conversation. She was like, how did that hair dye work out for you? And he was like, fine. And she goes, but your mom's still blonde.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. I was taking notes about things as I do. And she's telling him, when he's like, I'm going to quit the theater. She's like, great, theater's stupid. She's like, you should join tech because it's awesome.
She was like, we get to build shit and paint shit, and it's a workout, and we drink backstage, and we are cooler than the actors. And I was like, tech is the shit. Like, and
he's like, why should I join? She's like, I just told you. Like, what more do you need?
I'm obsessed with Cody.
And I was like, truly though, like, that sold me. I was in. Like, I want to do that. I'm not creative. I can't paint well. I can
Techies for life, dude.
Love it. So he's leaving the theater on a high note, and we pop back over to Caleb and Dylan, who have run into each other on the street. And I just put, I hate this guy.
Yeah. I wrote, Dylan is such a pure person, and I'm not sure that this is a good idea. Like, I love that he is so willing to give people a chance, but it didn't sit right.
It did not, and it felt like, I know he's like 22, but it felt like he was grooming and gaslighting Dylan, which is what he was doing. But like he was manipulating him into feeling the emotions he needed him to feel in order to get what he wanted. And I'm still not 100% sure what that was. I know he came for money, but I also don't know that he wasn't there also to screw up Norma's life more. Like
I don't either. Like I don't.
Big impetus was.
I also don't even know if the money was really real. Like obviously he needed the money, he wanted the money, but I'm sure with how charming he was, he could have gotten money from a lot of people. I don't know that the money was the number one reason.
Unless he's messed up things with everyone he's known.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he could meet, like, you know what I mean? Like, he has the kind of manipulation skills that he could just, like, meet somebody.
He could be the Tinder swindler.
I think he could. I think that Norma and Dylan were the impetus. Like, the money was secondary.
I don't know that he knows about Dylan. Because I think that was Norma's breaking point, and as soon as she knew, she ran.
I think he knows. I don't think he knew, but I think he knows. Because the way at the beginning when he was like, "Oh, are you her son?" And like I think that he's smart enough to put together the age and the facial look and I think he.
I would not be surprised if he knew. I'm just not sure.
No, I don't think he knew before he arrived.
Oh,
but
definitely.
I think he knows for sure now.
I think that is very possible. I just put a lot of times, I hate this guy. He's the worst. I hate him. So a little repetitive, but I felt all of those things a lot of times. So we go back to Norma and Norman, and he's like, "Yo, Norma, I think I'm going to join tech because it sounds super cool. I went to quit the play, and they were like, hey, do tech. What do you think?" And surprisingly, she's like, "Yeah, join a group, make new friends."
I was so baffled at the normalcy. She was like being normal to him and telling Emma how sweet she was. And like, I was like, you are acting like a normal parent and I am confused.
That is why I am feeling like she's going to be killed before I thought she was going to be killed. Because again, the trajectory, we're getting too close to her being a normal parent.
She's going to snap.
Yeah. So some things are going to happen. And in the same time, we're talking to Emma. Emma's like, we're going to have this beach day. We're going to do this bonfire and celebrate Bradley's life. And I'm like, why on earth is she so gung-ho about Bradley? She didn't like Bradley. She especially didn't want Norman liking Bradley. And now she's like, we're going to all.
Yeah. I just thought like she's just such a good person. Like she's just such a good person.
I have concerns.
Well, she tells me her concerns later.
I have more concerns, I think, than what she said.
Fair.
I'm just not really sure where everyone falls right now. Again, I'm starting to get to that point where the people I was comfortable with, I'm no longer comfortable with. I don't know where Dylan's going to go, but I think he's going to be obviously with this Caleb guy, he still calls it an issue, but like, I think it's going to go deeper than that. This is one of my predictions that I will get to later because I have a whole theory. Like I drew up a whole board in my mind.
Okay.
And, Emma, I've started worrying about that she's just something's off, and I don't know what it is because I think she's doing in a way the opposite of what Norma's doing. I think her character development is going into a more dark side than it started.
I think so. I think it is, but I think it hasn't strayed from normal teenage dark to me yet.
No, not yet. No, I agree. And I think her development's moving at the correct speed, which is why it hasn't. Because again, there's 5 seasons, and I don't know. I'm not spoiling it, so I don't know how many episodes she's in.
Yeah, the only thing I can think, and this is again prediction stuff, is that because I do think that I don't think she's a bad person.
No.
But I think that she was so jealous.
Mm-hmm.
So jealous of Bradley. And then Bradley died. And then she's still not going to get Norman.
Right.
Because of Cody. And she's going to spiral.
I think.
And I don't know that I don't want to say that it's like a Norman level spiral, but she's definitely going to get less and less emotionally hinged as the show goes on.
Definitely think it's going to be Norman led, not because of a hidden personality of her. I think it's going to be
No, it's I don't know that she's going to become like a psychotic serial killer, but she's not. She's going to continue to lose the ability to handle her emotions in a way that is healthy, which she's already kind of starting to do. But I still don't know what kind of reckless it's going to be, because like getting drunk and having sex with strangers and like self-harming because you're sad is like normal, quote unquote, not normal, but it's normal teenage recklessness with emotions, whereas nothing else in this show is that. So like I can't imagine that it's not going to go darker, but I also think it wouldn't hurt my view of the show if it stayed at normal. Like I would be okay if it was like Mean Girls, not Heathers.
Yes, I agree.
Okay,
I think that's a great explanation. I love the comparison.
Yeah.
And we pop back to the weed farm with Zane. A lot of times I just refer to him as Gil's brother because I hate him.
I wrote this boss guy is fucking crazy.
He is ready to start a war. He's like, if I have to kill 10 people, I have to kill 10 people. If they are going to kill 12, I'm going to kill 15. It's like, and Dylan, he's like, what do you think I should do? Dylan's like, I think we should probably stop. I think we're done now. And I was like, yes, I think so, especially because the beginning was a miscommunication. Like, the whole first death was because we had a miscommunication on who actually killed who. Like,
and Dylan's the only one who knows the truth. So, like, Dylan's going to get killed.
Right. So that's going to spiral. And I mean, it should. It's a big storyline. And I'm thrilled to know more about it because I love a good crime family. Love it. So, and then we go back to just Dylan and Remo. They're burying the bodies, and Dylan is just over Zane. He is like so fed up, and I get it. And I think Dylan's, so I know Dylan killed that other guy with the car or whatever, but I think his breaking point where he kind of like gives into it all, I think he's going to kill Zane.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think that's what's going to be his breaking point, and he's going to be ruthless after that. Maybe not to like the rest of the world, but in the crime family world.
Okay.
I think he's going to go in that direction.
I think something else is going to have to snap first. Like, I think something in the Bates side of like the family side of thing is going to have to break because he's still too good. Like, he's too trusting and too good. And as angry as he is, he doesn't even think of taking Zane out. Like, that is not even an option to him.
I definitely agree. I think more is going to have to happen. I think that is going to be the final thing that like
yeah.
And but he has to get to that final point first. But I definitely so I think that's where he's going. I really think the way that this, and I keep talking about this, but the character development that's in this show, I really think each of these characters was set up in a certain way to go into the opposite direction. Whether it be they started out crazy and went more normal, or started out more normal, crazier.
I don't know though, because I think that Norman was pretty fucking weird even from episode 1.
He was weird, but we didn't know the extent. And so
it's definitely gotten worse. But I know most of season 1 we thought Norma was the problem and Norman was okay. But I know the first episode I was like, they're both
right. But I also think with Norman, I think that is one of the ways they show how psychotic he is, how like sociopath he is that he has like, once you know the nuances, he hasn't changed from the beginning. He's done different acts. We've seen more of him. We've seen different sides of him, but he hasn't changed from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think that's also a tool they're using because everyone else has gone up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And he stayed the same, even if we didn't know that's what was happening.
Right. No, I can see that.
I love the way they're doing the characters. I wasn't sure at first, and I've decided I like it now. So we go back to Norman and Dylan, and Norma and Dylan, and Norma's just like, la 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 la, everything's fine, nothing happened with Caleb. And I'm like, okay.
No, she's like, oh, your clothes are muddy. Why? And he was like, oh, I was doing some planting. And she was like, oh, I hate the weed, but like take them off and leave them in the hallway and I'll do your laundry for you. And I was like, ma'am.
She's just trying to distract him from this Caleb stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I think you're too laissez-faire about it. Like, especially like being this way is, I'm sure, one of the things that led Dylan to thinking she was being crazy.
Yeah.
Because she's
which was kind of my point in the beginning.
Yes. Oh, then yes. I think she's so hot and cold that she's kind of screwed herself over on it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, fair or not, emotional trauma or not, it just is the result of it, It's
yeah.
So then she goes to a party because she's got friends now. And someone offered her a peach martini, and I was like, I want that.
I didn't think I wanted it because I'm not a big martini person because I don't really like gin or vodka. Yeah. But then I saw the martini and it really kind of just looked like a peach Dole Whip with alcohol. And I was like, yes.
See, I had this peach martini once that had a jalapeno slice in it. So it's like a spicy peach martini. It was really good.
I hate jalapenos.
I also hate jalapenos.
Oh, okay.
It was so good. Yeah, and I also was like, I also think I would need a martini to get through this crowd because she doesn't know anyone. I mean, she barely knows, and she's invited her, and now she's in this whole group of people, and she's fitting in surprisingly well, and she says her husband's accident's a car accident, which is probably the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, no, but I was confused on that because the way that they filmed it and the way that they made it, I was just very confused as to why she lied. Like the cover story, the insurance story is that he was working in the garage and the tool shelf fell on him and he cracked his head open and died. That's while a freak accident, believable enough that they got the life insurance money. So why create a hole that you can get caught in? Like, it's different with the like Keith and the Shelby thing where you kind of have to lie to fix, but this is a lie that there's already a cover story that has been for a year. So why did you change it? I think that things like that are why she's going to get caught.
Absolutely. No, I definitely think that's one of the reasons she's going to call. Somebody's going to do their research on her and figure out that's not how he died.
Yeah.
I think she didn't want further questions. And if you say someone's in a car accident,
nobody asks.
No one's asking about it. If you say someone had a freak accident in our garage or whatever, there are more questions that are going to follow up. And like whether there should be or not, because like you should just kind of let people grieve,
live their lives. Yeah.
But like I think that's why she went that route.
Right. I do think
it's
with how many secrets she has, don't create more lies for yourself. Right. That's the thing about lying is you have to believe, or you have to remember all of the lies that you told.
I barely remember the truth half the time. There's no way I'm making up that many lies. Like,
right.
You asked me what I did yesterday. I don't know. If I thought hard enough, I'd probably figure it out. But
it'd take me a second, but I could tell you.
Yeah, but like I can't even try to make up something I've done. Oh, and I just put Norm as a human. This Steve really showed. She's just
my mom, because my mom was watching it with me and she was like really concerned for how Norma was gonna, like the way she was talking about. My mom was like, I thought she was gonna get like really weird like Rain Man when she started saying statistically and like just like say something, but then she was like actually funny and normal and having a conversation, and it was so confusing.
I also thought she was going to get weird. And then everyone got along with it and was like chilling. And I was like, all right, Norma, there you go, making friends
Yeah.
today. What does this word say? I get beach. That says beach.
Yes.
We'll go to the beach next.
Yes, we do.
Beaver. And I was like, there's no beavers in this episode. So
I don't think there's been any beavers in anything we've watched.
I think that's true. I just think about it. I was like, Dead Like Me had some outside scenes. Was there ever a beaver? But
no.
there wasn't. Emma's just being so bothered again. And I was like, why is she being such a jerk? And
I was so confused by her reaction until she said what she said. And then I
know my heart. She says, it's like, I was like, why is she being a jerk? She's like, because she's dead and I still don't like her. And I was like, you're not wrong. I understand your feelings.
No.
But you're going to spiral because of it.
Yeah.
And like, you just have to accept that those are your feelings. Like, whether you think they're right or wrong, it is what it is. Like, but alas. And then Cody shows up. Tech girl is there, as I referred to her because I couldn't remember her name.
No.
And Norman's stoked. And she's like, let me tell you about this person that is my friend. And I don't remember his name. And then it's
Paul. His name is Paul. Yep.
Sorry, the P. I couldn't remember what it was.
I was like, Cody is too cool. And I no longer trust her because you can't be that cool and want to talk to Norman.
I don't trust her because I don't know her yet. And so far, everyone sucks. So, like,
that's fair.
I'm assuming the worst starting out.
No, that's fair. But, like, I was obsessed with her when she was cash register, hair dye, tech girl. And then she was, like, cool party at the beach girl. And I was like, this is too many cool things. I no longer trust you.
Well, cash register, hair dye girl has no effect. Like, nothing's gonna happen because of her. She's a one-time scene. She's coming through. It's over.
No, but then when she ended up being tech girl was cash register hair dye girl, and I was like, oh.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Is like the scene we saw her in. I liked her then
because she didn't matter.
She didn't matter, and then we go to the tech scene, and I was like, okay, I don't know yet. And then beach scene. I agree. I had the same like transition. I was like,
nope.
I don't know where she fits in yet. I don't know where she came from. She didn't know Bradley, so I'm guessing she didn't know the at least this side of the weed farm, like, because surely she would have.
She seems like she might be like a couple years older than them.
Yeah, and she also maybe, I don't know if she's grown up there. She acts like she has, but she doesn't feel like she fits in anywhere yet.
No, so I have thoughts about that.
Yes, I'm not sure where that's going. So then. The scene that brings me so much strife in my emotions. We go back to Dylan and Caleb. And Dylan gives him $11,500 to move to Costa Rica. I was like, Dylan, that money is not for a house in Costa Rica. I don't know what it's for. I don't even know that it is not for a house in Costa Rica.
No.
But Dylan wants so bad to know his family. Because he's only ever had Norma. And then he had
crazy.
It was crazy. And then he had Norman's dad, who he knew wasn't his dad, who also wasn't good to him.
Yeah.
And so he's never had a family.
Well,
and
this scene was really hard because at the beginning, before he started asking about the money, before Dylan paid him, I had a moment where I was like, is this another one of Norma's crazy things that she made up? Like, I was so torn because I was like, I fully believe that she told the truth, but also she's crazy. Like, what if he's not lying? Like, I did not know what to think.
I think that's a fair thought, but the only reason I never thought that was because she does have that like brand on her leg.
Yes.
I think that's the big event that started her being that way. So
right. And that's all so true. And obviously like the perps being charming is like a thing, but because the show has gone back and forth so many times on whether Norma is trustworthy or not, I had a moment where I got why Dylan fell for it. Like I understood why he didn't trust that that this guy was not good news. Like I got it.
And I totally get not believing Norma and not trusting her because you've seen so many wacky things from her. But I do not trust this guy on his
Oh
own.
no. but also like
Dylan wanted so bad to have family.
Dylan wanted so bad to have family, and Dylan is also like we've already said in every other situation before this, he is the most open-minded person. Like he will give everyone a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so he's learning about his grandparents, and he's like, Mom, he was like, Norma never told me any of this. Yeah, because they're all terrible people. She didn't want me to have to like deal with any of that.
Yeah.
And then he, you know, I was like, he's gonna ask Dylan for money, and I knew that's whenever. Oh, so I guess Dylan hasn't given him money yet, but this is. I was like, he's gonna ask Dylan for money because he's talking about Costa Rica, and then Caleb says, "Oh, every family you know is probably just like ours." Nope, they're not. You're a terrible human. And your parents are not good people either. You're the worst. They're not great. So no one is like your family. I mean, sure.
Someone is, but
but that is not a blanket statement you get to use.
Correct.
And that was, I was like, he's such a creep. And then I just put, Dylan, don't you dare fall for it. And alas. But on the more positive front, Norma is still at her party, and she's having a great time looking out at the horizon. And this guy who turns out to be her pal's brother comes out and is like hitting on her and like flirting with her. And he's just so kind. I'm sure he's a terrible person.
Yeah, no, I didn't for a second believe he had good intentions.
I'm sure he does.
This is what's wrong with me. This is what is wrong with me. I questioned Caleb being a bad guy, but never once questioned this guy being a bad guy.
Yeah, I never once questioned Caleb being a good guy. I just assumed he was bad the whole time. And this guy, I assume he's not good, but there's a part of me that really wants him to be still.
See, but that makes you normal. That makes because Caleb is a bad guy. We already knew the information about him being a bad guy before we saw him. And this guy we know nothing about. So like questioning him makes sense. I'm like the guy with no backstory who's rich and nice, definitely a bad guy. The guy who's actually a rapist and is currently gaslighting his kid, maybe.
But also, I mean, you look at other shows we've covered like this. I mean, when you did Hemlock Grove, you fell for Roman, and he's not a good person. But I mean, I fell for it. That's part of the charm of these type of shows is that you explore some of your darker feelings and deeper thoughts that you wouldn't normally on a normal day. Even if you would, that you wouldn't
thanks for that caveat. Even though you're fucked up.
Even if you would have these thoughts or you would talk about them to your friends, this is personifying it. This is showing you that you're not alone. You're not the only one. And I think it depends on the levels. Like in this show, I just assume everyone sucks. But Hemlock's Grove, I was charmed by Roman. It's definitely a hit or miss. It's writing, it's characters. Many of the people in books that are not
as mad as I am about the end of Hemlock Grove. I truly still don't think Roman was really that bad of a person.
Okay, I think he was, but I still feel bad for him, and I understand where he came from, so I'm not mad at him.
If he hadn't killed Destiny.
That was the one.
For those of you who didn't watch when we did Hemlock Grove, I'm so sorry about that tangent.
Yeah, so not to bring it back to Hemlock Grove, but yes, so I think it's the level of how characters are written.
Yeah.
And these are following the original, writing of Psycho, more subtly written anyway.
Yeah.
So it does leave a little more up for grabs.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go back to the beach, and I had completely forgotten about Cupcake Boy.
Gunner.
Forgot that he existed.
I didn't. I was actually thinking when Norman was flirting with Cody, I was like, where's Gunner? Why can't Emma flirt with someone?
Well, you got your wish. Emma is drunk as hell.
I didn't realize how drunk she was. By the time she leaves the beach, I see it. But I didn't realize she had been drinking. And then she started stumbling over to Gunnar, and I was like, Emma, how fucked up are you right now?
And she's like, when she tells him, she's like, make bad choices with me. And I was like, hold on. Are we talking about going skinny dipping in the middle of the night, or are we talking about doing meth? These are very different lines. I need to know where we're drawing it.
I mean,
you are too drunk to make any choice right now.
To be honest, I definitely have initiated conversations with men by saying, please make bad choices with me.
I have not.
So I can't judge Emma.
I don't judge her. I need to know where her line is. That is different. Because she has been so straight-laced this whole time.
Right.
If she lets loose, I need to know how far she's going to go. This is like part of where I see her going in the wrong direction, the opposite direction of where she's.
I mean, I don't think meth would work really well with her oxygen tank.
Neither would skinny dipping, but you know, who knows? Who knows where we're going? I don't know what her intentions are.
I don't know how skinny dipping in an oxygen tank are really that bad of an issue.
Well, like, I don't know how oxygen.
I'm not saying she needs to go deep sea diving, but like you can still get naked and go into water.
But like, do you just have to hold your oxygen tank up? How does it? Can it get wet?
Yeah, like what scuba divers use oxygen tanks?
But those are for scuba diving. They're not the ones that you have for every day. I would guess they have better insulation.
Well, oxygen tanks are going to have insulation anyway because you can't have the oxygen doesn't want to get out except for through the hose.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like it's metal, so like rusting?
No, it wouldn't.
No? Okay.
No.
I have concerns, but
I have
concerns if it was meth, but still
yeah.
Feels like it's just not the greatest choice. Yeah, so I'm also concerned Gunner's going to be bad people. I can't figure out if he is taking care of her or taking advantage of her. And unfortunately, we don't figure out what happens next yet.
I really do think he is taking care of her. Like
I really hope he is.
He doesn't seem problematic, which of course in this show doesn't mean anything.
Right.
But he definitely seems like he has genuine intentions in all of the things that we've seen him do so far. He's just like a kid who's working to make money in the bit. Like it's not like he works for the company. He's just a picker. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's doing his thing. He's making his money. He's selling some weed on the side to have money to like hang out because that's what 17-year-olds do in this town. Like, you know what I mean?
And that's fine. And if he only has good intentions, I want the best for him. And I would like for him to have good intentions, but because we didn't get an answer, I have concerns.
Well, I mean, he did say, like, he was just going to drive her home safely, and then she threw up.
Okay, but Miss Watson was also going to just drive Norman home, and now she's dead.
No. Miss Watson was not going to drive Norman home. Miss Watson was like, let me take you back to my house, clean your wounds like a puppy, and then drive you home.
He also said, let's get food. And how do you know it's not at home?
He said, do you want me to take you home? And she said, yes. And he was like, do you want something to eat? Because she was drunk. That all seems very, very, like, I'm nothing about the way he said it or the things that he said give me any cause for alarm. Taking a 17-year-old to your house to clean their wounds instead of taking them to their house does give me alarm bells.
He said the correct words, but because this is Bates Motel, there
can be one good person on this show.
There can be. That is allowed. Let me know when we figure out who it is. But
Gunner.
All right. Be a Gunner stan, and I will stay cautiously optimistic. I want him to be good. I do. So then Norman is talking to Cody, and he is just being super awkward.
Okay, before he's awkward talking to Cody, we missed a little bit of a moment, right? Yeah, because before they're talking, he's sitting awkwardly at the fire, and
that's next.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nope, you're right. You're right. Write down.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, so they're sitting awkwardly. He's just sitting awkwardly staring at the bonfire while Cody is like on this guy's lap making out with him next to Norman.
Yes.
And it is so uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
And then said guy touches Norman's thighs.
Yes.
That is how I felt. That is how Norman felt. That siren was what happened.
Alarm bells were ringing. I was so uncomfortable. He doesn't even know this guy.
To be honest, I was more uncomfortable about the sitting next to the grotesque makeout than I was about the thigh touching.
Well, I was more uncomfortable, and then it was like, skyrocket, gotta go. It was like, that was more, so like, it was more uncomfortable longer because it was just awkwardly, like he was.
Oh yeah, like it was like nothing about this is getting better. It's just getting worse by the second.
Just getting worse. And then he's talking to Cody, and she's like, yeah, that's Paul. And he's like, I think your friend's gay. And she's like, really?
Yeah, he was like, I hate to tell you this, but I think your boyfriend's gay. She's like, first of all, yes.
Yeah.
Second of all, he's not my boyfriend.
Right.
And then he was like, Norman goes, you were making out with him for no reason. And she goes, there's always a reason to make out. I was like, yes.
Yes, live your best life.
As someone who spent a lot of time in college making out with guys that I knew were gay because that's what you did when you had their parties and alcohol. I just, Cody is me. Except for because I'm very sketched out by her a little bit. But like other than the sketchy part.
Let's figure out how much crazy she is before we compare her to you. If she's off on a killing spree at some point, maybe.
I don't. Yeah. No, I don't kill people. I just make out with my gay friends when I'm at parties.
That is much less crazy than I was expecting her to be. And then she's like, she tells Norman, she's like, aren't you? And he's like, gay? No. And like, he's not, but he like overreacted. Like he was just like so taken aback that she would even think that. And
she was like, then you might need to like get out more because your vibe definitely giving out super gay.
Yeah. I was like, all right. And then we go back to Norma, and she runs into Nick Ford, and he's like, he says something. I think he says her name or something, and he's like, you were the woman at the committee meeting who was against the bypass. And she was like, yeah, were you there? And he's like, no, I heard about it. And she's like, were you against it? And he was like, she said, did you vote for it? He said, no.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it. And this is who we know is the head of the other crime family right now.
Yeah.
And she is like, she's like, okay. And he gets in his car and she runs up and she's like, I'm sorry. Back up. And
I need support. And he's like, that's not how this town works.
Right. And so this is one of my spirals I went down. You talked about last week or week before how Sheriff Romero is the neutral ground.
Mm-hmm.
I think Norma's gonna have to be the neutral ground because I think in the near future, whether it be season 3 or early season 4, I think Dylan's gonna be the head of the weed growing farm family clan. And I think Norma is going to like latch up. What am I trying to say?
Link up, like work with.
Thank you. Link up with Nick Ford because he's on her side about the bypass, and she's going to be stuck between the two heads of the crime.
Here's the thing. I think she's going to be stuck, but I don't think she's going to be neutral. Like I think Norma is so selfish as a character that she's not going to have the ability to be a neutral ground. She's going to get somebody hurt if she gets stuck in the middle.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I also
whereas Alex is like genuinely neutral. Like he's like, you play on your side of the field, you play on your side of the field, don't cross fields. That's the only time I get involved.
Yes, I'm very interested to see how that's going to turn out because I think
I was not interested. I was like, I hate this. I hate everything about this.
I mean, I love a good crime family trope.
Well, no, because you do. But here's the thing. Nick Ford, what's his biggest concern? Not the weed thing. Who killed his daughter? That's his concern. Who killed his daughter? Norman, who is the only person who knows Norma. Should they be friends? Probably not.
No. So it's gonna cause chaos, and I'm here
Yeah.
for it. Then this is where we go back to Dylan and Caleb, and Dylan gives Caleb the money.
Right.
And he's like, I'm going to talk to Norma. Everything's going to be fine. And he's like, the only thing I care about is when you're visiting me in Costa Rica. I was like, Dylan, do not go there. He's not even going to be there.
Right.
Short and sweet, to the point scene. And we'll go back to Norma. Oh, this is the scene where Norman talks to Cody about being gay.
Right. Because
pushed a lot of
yeah. Oh, because then he gets to her house because he's walking her home. He gets to her house and she has to sneak in the bedroom window.
She leaves her window open to go back in, and he's like, oh, you had to sneak out. She's like, no, I didn't have to sneak out. She's like, I just did this.
I am very sketched out by her, but not in all the way the rest of the town sketches me out.
Yes.
It's very much an abuse, like dad drinks too much and I'm leaving because I'm very much only in charge of myself, but I come back in because he's drunk and going to hit me if he sees me kind of vibe.
So I could see that. I wonder if she has any parents. I wonder if she's not completely alone. Because she's working at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Making money for herself. And I mean, people worked in high school. I mean, I worked in high school and I had parents, but like, she kind of gives me more of the vibe of I live alone and nobody can know because I'm not 18 yet.
Okay, those are both totally plausible situations because I think working at the grocery store to make money and hiding it and sneaking out because you are not comfortable at home is a thing, but also because you can't tell anybody how bad things are at home is also like they're both very, very viable situations. And this show is so dark that like those both seem too normal to be what's going on. Yes. But like I wouldn't be surprised if it was either one of those.
Right. I agree. So I'm interested to know because there's definitely something else going on there.
Yes.
And so then Norma and Dylan. Poor Norma. She finally breaks and she tells Dylan why Caleb's not allowed there. And Dylan doesn't believe her.
Which I think if she would have told him days ago, he would have.
I agree. And I am so upset that he doesn't believe her.
Same. I was so angry.
And I know it's going to cause insane chaos now. And Norman comes in and he is scary Norman.
Well, because the first thing he comes in, walks in the door, he's happy, and then he immediately hears Dylan call Norma a fucking liar and screaming at him, and he
turns into scary Norman. And then he bursts in on Dylan. Fun fact before we move on, this fight, they got so into it, they both had to have medical attention after it was over. Like in real life. So that's fun. But he's punching Dylan, he's going after it, doing all of this, and Norma gives us the biggest bombshell.
Well, and this was before the actual bombshell itself. This was fascinating to me because Norma was like telling him to stop. And we have seen before that Norman doesn't, like when he turns into scary Norman, he doesn't recognize that anyone is talking to him. Like during the whole thing with Shelby, it didn't matter how many times Norma tried to calm him down, he didn't. But she keeps yelling and she's like, he can't help it. Like, don't do this. And Norman does stop. And that was fascinating to me.
It was very strange.
Because I don't get what the trigger that changed. Because I get why Dylan stopped.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't get what triggered Norman to actually check back in with himself. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not sure if it was just the coaxing from Norma. And I don't know. But we learn in the very last sentence, Caleb is Dylan's father.
Which, no, I'm going to be honest. I don't know if you have this trauma that Norman has, or that Norma has, and you don't like this and you hate all this, why does Dylan have his actual last name? Dylan's last name is Calhoun.
Because Norma was unmarried when she had him, so her last name was also Calhoun at the time.
I just can't imagine that she didn't just like make up a last name to give him somebody else's name to like make up a story about a father. You know what I mean? Like it just seems like that would be something she would do.
I mean, that's fair, but like, I mean, if you look at like a birth certificate, you have to put the father's name, and if there's no one to list, I mean, it's like you have no one extra, and I mean, that was her last name, and so it's not going to be.
No, it's not. It's not. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, so.
But you're telling me Mr. Bates never formally adopted Dylan? I can't imagine.
I'm shocked. But yeah, so that was our really dark and twisted episode. Who do you want to punch in the face?
Caleb is the easy answer.
Okay, I'm gonna pick someone else. Think about who that's gonna be.
But you hate everyone.
I hate everyone. I do, but I really want to punch Caleb in the face. I hate him the most. You know, I think I'm gonna punch that guy who's hitting on Norma at the party.
That's fair. I can do that.
Mm-hmm. Just because something's going on.
Yeah.
And then who's your MVP?
Gunner. I'm picking Gunner for no reason other than I need Gunner to be a good person. And because Sheriff Romero was not in this episode.
Fair. Gosh. I think I'm gonna pick Norma's new friend.
Okay.
I don't think I'm gonna trust her later.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think she's going to be going toward a sketchy direction, but like as of today, good friend.
Don't have a reason
we like to see it.
Dislike her yet, so I can pick her.
Okay.
Do you have any predictions?
I think I kind of like most of my predictions I said as we got to them. Like I have the weird that Emma's gonna spiral thing. I have my thoughts on Cody's situation. I definitely think that Norma's new friend is clearly linked to some kind of underworld because that house was too nice and that husband was too old.
Mm-hmm. I think her and her brother are Nick's other kids.
Oh.
They're Miss Watson's siblings.
Oh. Interesting. I don't hate that theory at all.
Because her husband was not.
I did for a second think that she was like a lesbian in love with Norma, and then she introduced her husband, and I go, oh no, she's just sketchy. Got it.
Yeah, she's just sketchy. But her husband wasn't sophisticated enough to be the reason
how she had that money. Yeah.
I think it's definitely on her that she has that money.
Okay.
And I think it's family money from her dad, who is Nick.
I don't hate that at all. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Which is just going to make more crime family drama because now Norma's in with that family too. And she's going to end up dating the brother and all hell's going to break loose. It's going to be wild.
That is wild. Whew.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm ready.
I'm not.
If anyone else is ready or has thoughts about it or has theories, because trust me, my mind has spiraled. There are plenty to dive into. You can email us at deathandaliens@gmail.com. You can find us on all the social media at Death and Aliens. What are we? Just Death and Aliens?
Yes.
And I forgot for a second. You can find me at CECloud13.
And you can follow me at EMKAY_superstar.
And we will see you on Sunday for Sci-Fi Sunday.
Bye.